WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca's IMSA event is worth the watch. And even though it isn't as big compared to other prestigious events such as the 12 Hours of Sebring and Rolex 24 at Daytona, it's definitely still an exciting event. So in this video, I'll break down the key factors pointing to why the Motul Course de Monterey is a must-watch in 2024. Laguna Seca has always hosted races that were action-packed and entertaining all the way through, and that's not just in IMSA but in other motorsports as well, such as the NTT IndyCar series, which comes to this track later on in the year. One of the factors that makes the Motul Course de Monterey so special is of course the track itself, and while each track is significant in its own way, Laguna Seca has this different and special feel to it. The track makes the racing thrilling and intense at the same time, partly due to the fact of the neat layout of the circuit, but also the elevation changes, which can prove to be quite tricky, but also fun. For example, Laguna Seca's iconic corner, the corkscrew, is very difficult, but also thrilling at the same time, considering that it has a 59 feet elevation change, which is the equivalent to a 5.5-story drop. It's tricky to get right, but it also has that neat roller coaster element to add onto it, as the cars travel their way down to the final braking zone of the track. Getting each corner right is absolutely crucial to the continuation of each of these cars' races, because one mistake can result in a loss of time or worse. Interestingly, there are very few paved runoff zones, and that's one of the reasons why making the slightest of mistakes can result in tragedy. It's different to tracks like Daytona, for example, where there's a big runoff zone at turn 1, where typically the NASCAR race cars continue on the banking. Adding on to the fact of this track making the race intense, thrilling, and so on, we also have to remember the time of how long this race actually takes place, considering that the Motul Course de Monterey is an endurance race, but it doesn't last that long. This isn't a race that lasts 12 hours or 24 hours like the 12 Hours of Sebring and Rolex 24 at Daytona respectively. This race lasts around 2 hours and 40 minutes long. This essentially means that drivers and teams will be making bold decisions and pushing hard throughout the race in order to achieve the maximum results, and this provides us with some truly incredible racing. Also, the race pit stop strategy will be critical to get right here at Laguna Seca, especially in such a competitive championship as IMSA. Since there's elevation changes and the track layout itself, as well as how competitive the field is out there, fuel strategy and tire strategy is also critical, so getting a car out in a good position is not the only factor to consider when a pit stop is taking place. Also, considering this is a sports car endurance race, this means that prototypes and GT cars will be out on track at the same time. For this 2024 event, IMSA is bringing the GTP class and the 2 GT categories, which includes GTD Pro and GTD. This means that the lightning-fast GTP cars will have to navigate their way around the GT cars while simultaneously in a battle for their class position. And this goes the same for the GT classes as well. That is one of the beauties of sports car endurance racing, and that factor will definitely be present here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca during the event. In past IMSA races at Laguna Seca, we've seen drivers pull off some pretty audacious overtakes that turn out to be absolutely spectacular. Last year in 2023, we saw Colin Braun in the number 60 MSR Acura split the GT traffic with the number 6 Porsche and continue to be in contention for the top 5 position in GTP. A pretty impressive overtake from the Texan racer if you ask me. Then there was that fierce battle in 2021 when Renger van der Zande in the 01 Cadillac and Felipe Nasr in the 31 Cadillac traded positions on a consistent basis for second place. Then going even further back to 2019, there was a great battle in the previously known GTLM category between the 2 factory Corvettes and Connor D. Filippi's number 25 BMW. Another reason you should watch this race in 2024 is because there will be a record 12 manufacturers on the grid for this Laguna Seca event. Both manufacturers of Ferrari and Ford will be making their return to Laguna Seca for this IMSA event. Ferrari's 296 GT3 will be at this race for the first time thanks to Conquest Racing's number 34 entry in GTD. Ford is returning to Laguna Seca for the first time since 2019, and they're bringing their brand new Mustang GT3, which debuted at Daytona earlier this year. Also, it's worth pointing out that 2 of the Mustang GT3s on the grid will be painted in a special 60th anniversary livery to celebrate the existence of the Mustang. Meanwhile, in the flagship category GTP, all 9 cars that competed last season will return for the 2024 race. In addition to those entries is Proton Competition's Porsche 963, which will compete at Laguna Seca for the very first time. So as I've explained, Laguna Seca's IMSA race is expected to be incredible for multiple reasons, including the on-track racing, the pit stops during the race that could decide the event, the thrilling and intense track that these cars will race on, and of course the manufacturers that are going to be present at this event. So with all that in mind, the Motul Course de Monterey powered by Hyundai N is a race you should definitely check out in 2024. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, I suggest subscribing. The reason why is because I make endurance racing content mainly on WEC and IMSA every week. And if you want to watch more videos, there's options on your screen. But for now, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one.